What's going on, everyone? MikeO back with my Philly show recap, and this recap is much smaller than I originally would have anticipated. Unfortunately, things didn't really work out the way I planned. I had actually planned on going to the show at least 2 days, preferably Friday and Saturday. Friday, I started with a PSA submission, and I was working on it. It took a little longer than I would have expected. Worked on it from 9 a.m. till about 3:30 in the morning. And, of course, things slowed down once I realized I wasn't going to make the show that evening. But either way, kind of dedicated the day to preparing a PSA order. And I had purchased these Bobby Shantz cards you're looking at in the last week, a 52 Topps and a 53 Bowman. He was signing Friday, and Bobby Shantz, longtime Philadelphia Athletic, pitched with the Yankees and in the World Series. Short stint with the Phillies at the end of his career. Had a really fabulous career. Was a MVP. Just had a really nice career. He signs at the Philly show often, and he does sign TTM. He's actually fairly local to where I am, about 30 minutes away. So I'm going to send these off to him, and they should come back pretty quickly. But always fun to meet Bobby in person and get things signed. So I missed out on getting his signatures there Friday night and missed out on the show, of course. But I did get there Saturday. Shorter trip to the show than I would have liked. I actually went to the show with my dad, and we were wandering around. Of course, I did have to spend a good amount of time dealing with PSA too, but we had to leave early because we had some family commitments. Went to the Phillies-Red Sox game that night with a group of family, which was a good time outside of the fact that the Phillies couldn't score much of anything and fell to the Bo Sox. But that being said, still had a good time at the show. Got to spend some time with my dad. Got to meet up with several YouTubers. B-Roth, Wesker Griff, Herd Fan, Nuff Said Cards, Wildcat72. Got to meet and talk with all them. First time I was ever able to meet Wildcat72, so check out his channel for sure. And also Jack F06, or F06. Was able to meet him as well, so always great to meet a fellow collector, a young collector, and a fellow YouTuber, so that was awesome. He picked up some awesome stuff, so hopefully he does a recap. You'll be able to see that. And, I'm really happy I got to meet up with you guys. Sorry I didn't get to spend more time with you, but did have a few pickups. Nothing too crazy on my end. My dad picked up some stuff, actually. It was pretty cool. So I'll show the two really cheap cards I picked up, and I actually picked these up basically as I was walking out. I saw a guy at a box of slabs pretty cheap, and I just thought for $5 a piece, these weren't bad. 1971 Topps Fergie Jenkins and a 1971 Topps Earl Weaver. Both present pretty well, pretty nice looking cards overall. Fergie Jenkins is only a PSA 5, and the Weaver's a PSA 6. 71 Topps is really tough. I mean, a couple Hall of Famers, $5 cheaper than it cost to get them slabbed to me. Was a no-brainer. Just some cool, nice additions for the collection. So, pretty neat. Not too bad. Happy to add those ones to the collection. And I think they look pretty good. To me, when you're in the 70s, you'd prefer PSA 7s, but 5s or 6s, if they're cheap enough and they present fairly well. I mean, obviously they're going to show some white on the edges of the black borders, but it's not that bad. So, pick those up. Happy about that. And then the two cards that my dad technically picked up, I think I threw in like $5 because he was a little short on cash. But first off is a 2011 Allen Ginter Roy Halladay mini auto, red auto, numbered 8 of 10. Beautiful looking card. Now, this card was vastly reduced. There was another one for like $350, but as you can see here in the reflection, there is a mess up there in the, I guess it's a damage. I think it's a factory damage. Honestly, I'm assuming it's straight out of the pack like that. But there's a huge, roll in the plastic that they use for this frame. So, I mean, it is on the back. You don't really notice it from the front, so you could keep it as is, and it's still a great piece of a Hall of Famer. Beautiful looking card. Or another option is to actually break it out of the current holder, and you could send it in and get it slabbed by PSA. I mean, they're not going to grade the card because it would be considered altered because it was removed from the frame. But you could get it PSA DNA slabbed and just have the autograph authenticated or the autograph graded. So that's always an option. But to me, that was a really good deal. Really couldn't beat that one for just over $100. And then the other purchase, I was actually looking at this dealer, which I've dealt with before, and I was just checking out his stuff. And then I noticed this card, and I showed it to my dad. I said, I think that's priced a little low. It's a 2019 Finest Prize Performers insert of Bryce Harper. Harper does not have a base card in Finest. He is in this insert set, though, Prize Performers. And I believe this is his first Superfractor as a Philadelphia Philly. I could be wrong, but he wasn't in Topps Chrome, and Finest came out before it anyway. And he hadn't been in any other type of Chrome type of products. So, Superfractor 1 of 1. Guy had it marked $200. I know $200 for a insert card, it's not cheap, but it's not outrageous when you factor in some of the other players and some of the other prices you see. To me, it's the type of card you could buy for $200, and I think you could probably resell it for $300-$400 if you wanted to the right person. I'm not saying I want to. To me, it's a cool part of the collection. Harper's actually had a really nice year. He's played well. He's played really well in the field. He doesn't have those crazy numbers some guys have, but he's shown something, and he's shown that he's going to be a staple in the Phillies lineup for years to come. I think the Phillies have some issues, and I don't think the right fielder is one of them at all. But the seller was actually kind of hemming and hawing and kind of was saying, I don't think I want to sell it. And then I kind of talked him into actually selling it since he'd agreed to sell it. But he seemed to be really ready to kind of mark that price up to closer to $400. He had other one of ones of Harper and other players much higher. So I'm not sure why he put $200 on it. Like I said, I mean, $200 is a lot for a baseball card. But I think the guy probably could have gotten a little more out of this. So I thought that was a good pickup. I think my dad was $5 short on what he had, so I kind of made sure I grabbed that other $5 to kind of complete the deal. But I think those are two pretty cool pickups for Phillies collection. So those are neat. So those were the two bigger pickups, not really by me. And then I picked up the two slabbed cards really cheap. I actually didn't have that much cash on me. I was so busy with the PSA stuff the day before, I never got to the bank or anything. Most of the cash I ended up having in my wallet was from Ed, who gave me money towards a PSA submission that he had done. But it was still fun. It was fun to meet everyone. I had a blast at the Phillies game at night. It was definitely cool to hang out with family, kind of like old-time style where you all go together. So that was a lot of fun. It was neat. And overall, a good weekend, a tiring weekend, but a lot of fun. But I have a lot of stuff coming up actually next week. Starting on the 23rd, that Monday is going to be sale week. I'm actually planning a bunch of stuff on Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube, where I'll be doing kind of a week-long of live sales, auction format, straight-up price format, all types of stuff. So should be interesting. I'll have more details coming up, but that's it. Just wanted to kind of show off everything and talk a little bit about the Philly show. Showed off only a handful of cards, I think 6 total cards, and it took me almost 9 minutes. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a great one.